Hello, everyone. Welcome to another UXL webinar. My name is Sofia, and I'm UXL's community manager, your host for today. This session is a part of our free webinar series where we bring industry experts from all around the world to help you level up your UX and product skills. In this session, we'll be talking about design quality assurance, and we will talk a little bit about what it is and why it's crucial for product and design teams. To guide you through it, we've got Marcin Ukleja, a design system consultant, developer, and creator of FigLint that you will be hearing more about during the webinar. He helps teams build high-quality, scalable workflows, and today he'll be sharing the exact practices, tools, and automations that make it possible. So welcome, Marcin. How are you doing?
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And also thank you for attending. That's really nice of you. And I'm happy to walk you through my presentation. And also there will be some time for practical knowledge as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really happy to have you on. Before we jump right in, just a quick note from my side is that this is a live session. So I see already some of you joining in. It's still very early, so we'll see people hopping on the call. But in the meantime, say hi, tell us your name, and tell us, is design QA a part of your daily workflow? Also, another note is that, as always, we will have a 15-minute Q&A session at the very end of the webinar. We've saved 15 minutes, so feel free to post your questions then, but also even if you have some before, the chat is open. Without any further ado, I will pop your presentation on screen, Marcin. Here we go.
Thank you.
And you may take over.
Thank you so much. Okay, so today we will be talking about the quality assurance, specifically design quality assurance, and also how it relates to the design system, but not only to the design system. You will see that it impacts and it is related also to other design artifacts, not only a design system. So first, few words about me. I'm Marcin Ukleja. I'm based in Poland, in Warsaw. And these are my current roles. I'm a designer. I design different digital products. By profession, I'm an architect, but I do not design buildings anymore. So only digital products. I'm also a developer, but it's not very professional, I would say, but professional enough to create some digital products myself. And also I design a few products myself as well for myself, which is also quite a nice thing that I can do. I'm also an educator. I teach at the university here in Warsaw. And of course, it is related to product design, user experience design, Figma stuff, and so on. And I also help teams, organizations, and also individuals as a consultant, usually related to design systems, but also to design operations. So these are my roles. And currently, I work for multiple companies, but I worked for much more of them. These are just a few. And I had the opportunity to work with global brands as well, which was a great experience for me, and I'm happy that I had this opportunity. And still, I work with quite big organizations, mostly, like I said, around design systems. Like I said, I designed and developed few products, and these are web apps. They are not commercial ones. However, the last one is still online. There's a Let's Touch app that you will be able to try sometime. This is really fun, simple app. I also design iOS apps, but mostly for myself, and I use them all the time. And for a couple of years, I would say, I also designed Figma plugins. One of them is FigLint. We'll talk about FigLint a little bit more today, but there are a few other plugins as well. So, and these are my two cats. This is Mono and Nano. They can hop into the camera probably. We will see. But I wanted just to introduce them earlier. So here they are. And here's the agenda. We already passed intro. We will talk about QA, of course, what it is and how we can see it from our perspective. We'll talk about the design artifacts, then the connection with the development, which is very inspiring for me all the time. Plus, we'll talk about the issues that we can find in our designs, in our Figma files mostly, and we'll talk how to spot and fix all these issues using Figma's built-in features, using Figma plugins that are already made, but we'll also talk about the custom solutions that will allow us to probably tailor or customize checks for our own products. There's a free gift at the end, so you will have the instruction how to get this gift, and there will be space for questions and answers at the end. So let's start into quality assurance and how we can perceive that. This is a very simplified software development process. Of course, this is very related to the waterfall framework, but actually, even if we work with the agile, these kind of the steps usually happen from time to time. So we have a discover phase, then this is our phase that we are most present there. This is the design stage, but of course we then need to hand our designs to developers. And there's a usual stage of testing, and then we are ready for launch. And there's a very common misconception, at least I've seen it a few times, that testing is the same, is equal to the quality assurance. And actually, yeah, testing is the part of the quality assurance, but quality assurance is not the stage. Quality assurance is kind of the mindset that covers every single stage of the process. Of course, it is very intensified during development and post-development, but also we have to remember that this is the set of tools and processes and procedures that allows us to make products of better quality, no matter the stage we are on. And there are a bunch of benefits of using quality assurance approach, and we probably don't even know that sometimes some things could be qualified as a quality assurance. But basically, quality assurance is about preventing problems. So rather preventing than correcting it. So this is a very important idea of the quality assurance. But of course, it improves consistency. It helps us work better with different stakeholders, teammates. And of course, at the end, it lowered the costs because all the process is quicker, because if we don't have to repeat our mistakes or fix them in the process, it will be simply faster. And of course, our part of the quality assurance is a design quality assurance. This is the part of the entire mindset, I would say. And we have to look at it from this perspective, of course, having everyone in mind as well. So there's also a quite nice metaphor that the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And I think it applies here very well, that we definitely on every step should be rock solid to assure that the quality is good for the entire process and for the end product. So I think it's also good to have it in mind that this is the entire process. Okay. So let's talk about the design artifacts, the products, byproducts that we create in our processes. So let's start with the designer. And designer, of course, usually produce some kind of the design file. It might be user interface. It could be entire app flow. This is commonly known as a design. But of course, we don't make a design just to make it, just to put it in our portfolio. We usually hand it over to developers because developers need to work on this design. And even by looking at this simple flow, we can see that design is for the developers, but design is also for ourselves. So any issues, any quality issues related to the design might impact us as well. And if not us, it might be our teammates because maybe someone else will work on the same design. So if the poor quality is here, definitely it will impact not only developer, but we also need to think about ourselves because in the long term, it is there. And of course, we usually work with some kind of the design system, at least some design system library, and it is usually created by the separate team. Of course, it's not the rule of thumb that definitely it has to be that way. But there are design system creators, then designers these product designers are usually called in this aspect design system consumers. And the relation here is also quite similar. The design system as an artifact impacts the designer, but impacts these creators as well. And we have developers here as well. These are sometimes not the same developers that we have here. They sometimes in larger organizations are part of the design system team, and they are dedicated. These developers are dedicated to develop design system only. But of course, at the end, developers have to deliver some kind of the product to our end users. So actually, our artifacts, design system, and design also impacts the end user, which is quite obvious for us. That's why it is user experience, not the developer experience. But definitely, this is all combined together, and we have to think how it is connected with different stakeholders in terms of the quality assurance. So that's why these are the main artifacts of the process, which is a design system and design, and different methods that we will be talking about today will be applicable for both of them. Some mostly for the design systems, others for the design artifacts, design products. So you will definitely see how it interconnects. Okay, so let's talk about the dev inspiration. If we are talking, because we know that the quality assurance is quite mature in the development processes, and we also can look at a lot of inspirations. And I chose just one very, very simple one. I don't know if you have any background in the development, but probably you can understand what we can see here on the screen. This is actually the CSS part of file that describes how the button should look like. And we easily can see that there's a padding of 8 and 12 pixels. 8 is the top and bottom, 12 is left and right. Border radius, and now we can see that border radius is not in the form of number, but we have some variable, which is named radius small. This is also quite typical thing for us, even for the designers, that we use variables to define, for example, radi. Font family also it is here showed as a variable. The same for color, which is the foreground color, and the background color, which is here defined like a hexadecimal value. And even for us designers, we can see in this code that something is wrong. And if we work in any so-called IDE, so tools for developers like Figma for developers, these tools usually help developers capture this kind of the issues. These are actually the quite small issues. and they are easy to fix. But definitely, it is quite helpful to see this kind of the error or warnings, like in this case, which is no color variable, and it says that background color uses hard-coded value, and we don't want to do that. We should use some kind of the variable instead. And this is just a spotted issue by some tool that helps us build better code and avoid mistakes. For now, of course, this button would work just fine, for example, in the light mode, but in the dark mode, it will be really problematic. Hence, we have this kind of the errors. And the tools that gives us this kind of the warnings and checks for the different standards in the development are called linters. And linter, I don't know if you know what it is. It is, to be honest, I didn't know that this is actually the lint roller, that it is called like this, and this is related to the linter name, of course. And linters are the tools that automatically analyzes files and finds some warnings, some issues there. Of course, we have to define some standards, what we want to be checked, and then we have this kind of the linter tool, and a lot of developers use it. There are also some default linters that check our code that way. The simplest linter, I think, is something that checks the spelling. It's also some kind of the linter that is also built in Figma, but of course in many text editors as well. So this is the part of the inspiration that we can have from the developers, and I think this is really, really huge. That from the development area we can really take a lot of learnings. Okay, so let's talk about the issues and the issues that we can spot in our files, and let's narrow the focus to issues, but not any issues, but technical issues. And I do it intentionally that we narrow it down to technical issues. So out of scope will be all non-technical issues about our files. So we won't cover it today. So we won't discover any methods to find out if visual hierarchy is good or not, or if the color harmony is well designed, or if we chose really good typography. These are all non-technical issues. They are, of course, very important, but intentionally they're out of scope. We will be focusing on technical issues, and I believe you experienced a lot of issues like this. Like there was no style applied to the text, or there was missing variable for padding, or something like this. Missing auto layouts. Of course, there are unnamed layers as well, which is also very confusing for many of us. Chaos in the entire file. Sometimes we are missing assets. So these all things are related to technical issues. They are not actually they might not impact design itself, but they impact stakeholders and the entire process. And why do we want to focus on technical issues only? Why we filter it out and think that this is very important? And there are a few things that I think are very important to technical issues, and they are very unique. They are quite objective. We usually have no discussion about something that is a technical issue, and it is easy to say that this is an issue and this is not. So this is much easier than talking, for example, about the visual hierarchy or font pairings. So definitely this is something which makes technical issues quite unique. They are easy to catch. They are easy to catch with the right tools because they are simply simpler. So there are some basic rules that allows us to find them. We'll see how to find them. Not all of them will be easy really to catch, but we'll have tools to do that. We don't need extra resources to check our files for technical issues, mostly. And in comparison, for example, if you want to check if the palette, our color palette is really harmonized, it's not easy to find it ourselves. Sometimes we have to discuss it with others. Sometimes we have to involve others. Also, we can check for the issues ourselves without involving testers, developers. So that's also something unique to technical issues, in my opinion. And they could be very quick and scalable. We can run this kind of the linters. Like I said before, many times. And developers usually interact with linters very often. It's not that they made a lot of mistakes, but it's quite usual that we have to check our files, that there are some errors probably all the time. That's why we have these tools. And also, if we say that there's a part of our process or there's a tool that is semi-automated, we can really focus on the design itself. So we don't need to worry about the technical issues because there are tools to find them and there are tools to solve them. And this is an entirely different process from the designing itself. So if we forget about applying some text style, it doesn't matter at the moment of designing because we will capture it later. So we are free to focus on our design process. And of course, it is the better hand of the technical issues are the most important for the developers. Really, developers don't care about the typography usually, but they really care about the variables. They really care about the components, if they are detached or not, if they have proper properties or not. So technical issues are quite unique because of these 6 characteristics, in my opinion. That's why they seem quite important, and that's why I wanted to focus on them solely. Okay, so now let's talk about the Figma built-in features that allows us to capture this kind of the mistakes. And in order to show it to you how to do that, I will simply switch to the Figma file and show you how we can spot some issues there. I have quite a simple file here that is really just some kind of the very basic interface. It has some styles applied here. There are only 3 styles here. It also has a few variables, quite a few, I would say, because there are primitive variables for colors, and there are different brands, as you can see here. There are 3 sample brands: fresh, rose, and graphite. We also have the theme for light and dark mode. What is very special about this file is that it has 2 separate collections for switching between theme and switching between the brand, which is quite unique, but it's quite complex as well. And as you can see, also for the brands, we don't only have the color variables, but we also have some other variables like for spacing, sizing, radi, stroke weights, and also for typography. And all of them have to be set up properly in order to be able to effectively switch between the brands or themes. So let's start to do some quality check in our file. No matter if it is a design or design system, we will focus now on the component. So basically, usually it's the part of the design system. This is the local component, just for the sake of simplicity here, and we can look at this component and look if everything seems to be all right. So let's start by looking at the layers. It is called top bar. That's nice, and we have the text here and also the logo here. So by selecting it and looking on the right, we can see that layout is not set as an auto layout, but that's okay for now. Of course, I encourage you to use auto layouts all the time, but we can start looking and checking if everything is okay, especially if it is not auto layout. We can make a lot of mistakes. So we can help ourselves definitely by adding some kind of the grid to the view. It will be very simple grid. So let me just add it. It is now called layout guide in Figma. So as you can see, I've added it right away, and I select this layer, and of course we can see that there's a 1 pixel off from the grid. It's really hard to capture without the grid, but we also can use so-called red lines, and I bet you already use it. If we select some layer, press Option on Mac or Alt on Windows, and hover over some elements, you would be able to see the dimension between these elements. And this, in this case, it is 17 pixels, which is probably not good because, as you might expect, we are working here on the 8-pixel grid. So we have to simply correct it, select it, and with the arrow, we will just do it like this. I will also enable the keystroke so you can see what I'm pressing. I'm using Mac, so the keyboard shortcuts will be related to Mac itself. Okay, so now we can see how we set it up. We used different methods: layers panel, design panel, red lines, grid as well. But I also encourage you to use the outlines mode. And especially with the proper setting. And let's turn it on. There's a shortcut for that, of course, but you can always find it in the top right corner. And here you will see the outlines. And show outlines, there's a shortcut for Shift Command O, but to be honest, on the Mac, also Command Y is working, and it's much easier to turn it on and off. And in this view, we can easily see where are the bounds of the different objects. However, my favorite setting here is in outlines and include object bounds. And if we set it to on, we can see all object bounds, including these texts. So it's much easier to spot where is the edge of this text layer. And Command Y, of course, it looks now okay. Okay, so we've checked first thing, which was related to the position and sizing and all stuff like this. But if we want to go with the auto layout, definitely we should, and I will do it right away, and I will turn it to auto layout. So I'm selecting it, and I can choose auto layout here. But of course, Shift A, I think it's my favorite keyboard shortcut, and it turned our frame to auto layout frame. Of course, it changed the dimensions based on some heuristics of Figma, that Figma decided that we wanted to make it this way. So I can just set some size here, and we are using here the size of 360 usually, but I will show you in a moment why I usually don't set it to this kind of the values, because we will be able to spot the problems much easier if we set it to different value. Okay, so we set it to auto layout, and now Command Y, we can see that this text box should go right away here to the right. So let's make it right. I will leave view in the outlines view, and we should set the width of this element to fill container, and it will look like this. And this is the proper setting of the auto layout. But one tip: you don't always need to go here and change the settings here. Look what will happen when I drag this. It is now set to fix. It is fixed because I set it manually. So Figma thinks that, okay, I want it to be 208 pixels wide. But when I double click on that edge, Figma automatically sets it to hug. But also I can hold the Option key or Alt key and double click them, and it will change it to the fill. So it's quite easy to do it on the canvas instead of going to the design panel. Okay, so let's look at other issues that we can find here, and we can select entire frame. And on the right, on the very bottom, we can see selection colors. And selection colors is the very handy thing in Figma that allows us to also spot some errors. And of course, we can see that there's a problem with some layer that is black. That's also hexadecimal, quite similar to the one that I showed you with the CSS file. And I can double check where's the problem, and there's a problem with this one, and I have to simply change it to foreground strong in this case. But also we found another problem by selecting this layer, and you can see that typography here is set manually. And if we see this kind of the settings opened in the design panel, it usually means that we should use the style here. So let me just change it to the title, and actually I change it right away here. So to spot all these kind of the styles, color styles are quite easy to catch, or missing color variables, because we have the selection colors section. You might notice in your Figma that sometimes Figma started also to list here the text styles, which is not, of course, by the design. I think they are testing something here, but actually we are not able to find all the styles, especially missing styles, here in the list. So we have to click on it and check manually for every single file, for every single layer, if the style is there or not. And if we are talking about the styles, we should also talk about the variables. And we don't have only color variables, but also spacing variables. So actually, these are also the problems, because this shouldn't be 24. It should be 24, but we should get it from the value of the spacing variable in this case. And also, we have to apply this variable here. So now this top bar looks quite okay. It is in auto layout. It has no missing or hexadecimal colors. All of them are variables. This text also is the style, is the text style itself, and we used all things here as well. So as you can see, we use different methods and tools that Figma offers just to spot some errors. But let's go a little bit further. This is just a summary, some recap of the issues that we can find and how to fix them. What are the methods? I didn't show you the run rename layers, which is also quite handy sometimes. This view actually, you probably seen it all the time, that there are so many frames here. And we can always run the quick action, which is called rename layers, and Figma will try to figure it out, and Figma is renaming these layers. So now by using AI, Figma helped us with that. But actually, these names of instances are not unique, which might sometimes cause the problem. We are talking about these elements here, but we'll focus, we will have to do it manually any other time. Okay, so no auto layout. These are all things that we can use. Of course, for misalignment, there are visual checks, red lines, outlines, like I mentioned. But of course, for no styles applied, we can, or no variables applied, there are selection colors. Sorry for this typo. This also should be captured by some kind of the linter, and selection colors and the design panel could help us. But of course, we have plugins, and Figma offers a lot of plugins. So if Figma features are not enough, there are plugins as well. And I'm not going to go through all the plugins available. of course, and that you might use. I really like these ones, and most of them are related to organization stuff, like organizing layers, cleaning document, like aligning pixels, sorting layers, because it also helps me and others. Selecting layers to fixed layers much easier. If you search for any of these plugins and search for the developer, you will see that most of the plugins of the developers would be useful for you. For components, there are Instance Finder. There's also something which cleans the components that you are not using anymore. Of course, it works best in the local libraries only. And accessibility, which is a huge part, and I intentionally wanted to skip it, but there are a lot of tools. Also, Figma has built-in tools for the contrast right now that allows us to work with the accessibility much easier. But there are other tools as well, more holistic, I would say, and there are linters. And actually, there are linters on Figma. There's a very, very popular design linter. It is called DesignLint. There's a fun roast. I like the name of the linter that finds the mistakes in your file and just roasts you. There's a roller, sweeper, variable lint. They are all targeted to find this kind of the issues. However, when I was using them, testing them, I didn't find them good enough for my cases. I usually wanted something with more modern UI, which is updated, which also covers variables, and which is easy to use. So in that case, what I usually try to do, if I'm able to do it, I created my own plugin, which is called FigLint, and I'm going to demo it to you right away to find issues in these files using the FigLint instead of manual checking. So I'm going to open the FigLint, and I will use the development version for that, which is the same as the one in the community. And now, as you can see, it checked the entire page. Nothing was selected, so it decided I will go and check entire page. And it checked 26 layers, but found 24 issues, which is a lot comparing to the number of layers. And there are no textiles, for example. So let's click on this, and we will be able to see that there are two layers that do not have textile applied to it. We found one, but this one is here. So we can see that, yeah, actually, this is not the textile. So I'm going to, sorry, I covered it. So I'm going to change it to the detail because it is actually the detail. And also I have to do it the same with that one. And you will see that now we are okay with this category, with this group of issues. But we also have few other problems to solve. This one is, let me just run it from the community, because I will have the pro access here, because variables, searching for variables are in the pro access, but I can check for them also here. And you can see that there's no color variable. You will find the information about the ignored elements that are intentionally ignored, because usually you don't want to check them for this particular issue. And this kind of the field should be set for background. It is background surface, and now it is okay. And also we forgot about this color, and we do it. It's foreground placed on accent, and we solve it right away. And we can go through all of them. We can find the no corner variable, and as you can see, there's a missing variable here. We also can look at even no stroke weight variable, and the top bar itself has the stroke. And I said before that everything is okay. Actually, it isn't, because here we should choose the stroke weight, which is a default, and now it is fully okay. So I found FigLint, of course, can help you check the selection only. In this case, everything is okay with this selection. You can anytime check entire page. And then you can check for styles and variables. And in the future, there will be more checks as well. So that was about the FigLint. But what about custom solutions? Sometimes when we are working with our design systems, there's no one design system, so there's no one linter that could help us solve all the issues. So sometimes we have to do some custom solutions. And sorry, but I will have to speed up a little bit. Hopefully you will be okay with that. This will be the quite hard part. So, but I will show you that quite easily we can use it also with the help of AI to find other issues that, for example, FigLint does not cover. So, and in order to do that, we'll have to use something which is called Figma API. API stands for Application Programming Interface, and we can think of this as some kind of the tool that Figma delivers, that Figma offers, that allows us to interact with Figma file elements. So we can easily look into the file and search for different things. So in order to do that, we'll have to use console. So it becomes a little bit nerdy, but really don't be afraid. I will open the console here in this file. And for now, let me just, I will just maybe zoom it a little bit out. Let me just, okay, FigLint should not be, I want to check if the FigLint is closed fully, okay. And open console once again. And you will see a lot of things inside the console. But don't worry, you always can clear the console right away here. And I will show you how we can interact with it. I will select this text layer here, so I can see it is selected. And then go to the console and run some command, which is called Figma.currentPage. So we are telling Figma to look at the current page and look at the selection. When I run this code, you can see that Figma says that this is what was selected. The text node. It is other word for the layer. It is the text node, and we can see that this text node here has a lot of properties, and most of these properties could be find also in the design panel. But look at what we can have here: characters. Characters is fresh. It is actually the characters that we can have here. But the name of the layer, which is also the property of this, is brand name. And it's exactly the same as we can see in the Figma's graphical UI. We also can check for, like width of this element, height, of course, let me check for one more thing. There's something which is called detached info. And this is quite surprising that Figma also stores information about the component that it could be previously the instance of. So if we detach any component, Figma actually stores this information, so we can easily find all the elements that used to be instances but are now typical frames. So let's imagine we want to capture all these things, and in order to do that, we can start talking with any LLM, any like ChatGPT or something, and write a Figma console script that finds all nodes that were detached from the main component. So there's probably also some typo here, but of course LLM is quite forgiving here. And look what it offers. It is kind of the code that I'm going to copy right away from different place, and I'm going to clear the console and write it and run it again. And look what it does. It goes to Figma current page and finds all things, not only selected films, where node has the detached info not equal to null. So it will look for all the elements that has this detached info property, but it is not empty. So it means if it is not empty, it means it used to be a component. So I'm going to run it. And you can see that Figma returned empty so-called array because nothing was detached. But I will now, just for the testing purposes, go with this instance and do what we all love and hate to do. I will detach it from the instance, and you can see that this is no instance anymore. I'm just using up arrow to find once again all these elements, and this time Figma reported the frame node that is actually the node which is called list item. I can check the name, of course, here. This is the list item, and this is the item that used to be a component. And we won't have time to go through all other things, but I will show you just here in these examples that we, for example, might want to dig a little bit deeper. So reporting the names of the frames is not very useful. So we can now just change the selection to what we just found. So we basically will select this all the layers with this issue. Also, what we can do with a little bit of properties, we can find simply, this is just one line. It looks like two lines, but this is one line for the console. This is the code that easily selects all the layers that are not auto layout frames. So we can easily spot all the things that are not auto layout because we are finding all frames. We are saying that we are looking for the frame, and layout mode, which is the property of this particular node, is set to none. And we can do much more with this. For example, this code, which is a bit longer, finds uneven gaps, so gaps that are not divisible by 5. This is very simple code that we can ask AI to give it to us, copy it, and paste it to the console, and select all elements that do not use, for example, any particular gaps. So that's about the using the console. And if you want to go even further, we can use Figma plugin API. So it basically works in the same way. So it uses exactly the same API that we have access to the console. But in addition to that, we can, of course, put a lot of logic there. We also can create the user interface because plugins could work without the interface, so could run like we run it from the console, but also could run like the FigLint, so they can show the interface for us. And there's a Figma course which is called "Build Your First Plugin." There are some videos on the YouTube you can watch yourself and see if this is something too hard for you or not. I believe it is not too hard for you. If you see these videos, I believe you will be encouraged to try to create your own plugins. And there's one more thing, which is called Figma REST API, which is called Representational State Transfer API, which is absolutely too sophisticated for us to understand, but we can think of it as the plugin API, but the one that works outside of the file. So we don't need to open the file, open the plugin, and run the plugin. We can basically, from our end, launch some plugin and, for example, check the bunch of files, like 100 files, like 1,000 files, for some mistakes and report them somewhere. And this is REST API that also Figma offers. Okay, so everything else would be available to you via FigLint. So you've already seen what. If you don't want to try something custom, but I also encourage you to do so, you can also use FigLint for this kind of the checks. And like I said, you won't be able to find these variable issues here. So what you can actually do is click the Get Pro access in the FigLint. And now there's a small catch. You double click on the logo, so it is hidden, so not everyone knows about it. It's intentional. You double click and you see the promo code text field, and UXL dash June. And that's the code that you can use and hit apply. And the promo code now is applied. So with this code applied, you can easily go and search for all these things here. And no matter if it are styles or variables, you can discover them freely. And just thanks to this UXL June promo code, you have access to all of these things until the end of June. So you will receive this kind of the small instruction how to do it. So clicking Get Pro Access, double clicking the logo, and typing UXL June promo code, and that's all. Okay, time for Q&A. Q&A is not for the quality and assurance this time.
Thank you. So yeah, we have some time left for a Q&A. If you haven't already, feel free to post your questions now. We received one question so far, and I will bring it up on screen. So Thera, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing, but we have a question that is, how do you align design Q&A processes with evolving design system updates, especially in a fast-paced product teams?
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for this question. This is definitely related to the design operations. So also some kind of the area that could be inspired by DevOps, development operations, that we have to tackle everything. We have to synchronize everything, and also we have to implement some quality assurance process as well. So basically, if you have a team that works on the design system itself, and you want to be sure that everything is checked, it's issue free, you can, in the simple form, create some kind of the checklist, and every time you publish your library update, which could be like every week, which is quite usual, I would say, for the teams to update something there. You don't have to update it right away. Updating design system from week to week is quite efficient, because also you can implement the processes like this. So let's say you have to check, you have to go through the checklist and check for everything before something. And what is something? Something is usually handing it over to the developers. So it's just a point on your checklist to go through this checklist. So you have to simply check everything using any tools of yours. This could be also you can even check if there are auto layouts, if the description of the new release is prepared, if you unpublished all things, if you merged the branch, if you are working on the branch. These are all the stuff that should be done before going further. So in the basic form, definitely it should be a checklist. It's hard to automate it. However, if you for example work with the developer team that for example is using Figma's variables API, for example, to sync with the code, it also could be put into the process. But definitely you have to agree with other stakeholders, mainly developers, how do you want to proceed that, and before releasing the design system. And I will encourage you not to be too quick, too fast about releasing it. Really doing it every week or doing it in a very frequent manner is usually better.
Thank you. And thank you, Thea. So I think that let's wait a few minutes, but um, if anyone has any questions, but let me move. Um, in the meantime, Marcin, I wanted to thank you for doing this webinar with us, and thank you for showing everything. What I'm interested in is if I want to build a custom plugin, how long of time should I set aside for doing it? How long did it take you to build FigLint?
Usually more than you expect, and definitely it was the case for the FigLint, because I thought it was not only the case for the FigLint but for most development projects I try to do, and I thought that it will be easier, much easier, but especially all the edge cases took me a lot of time. Of course, learning itself, the coding now with the help of AI, it's really great thing to do, because you can easily learn a lot. It's not about copying the code; it's also by explaining the code. So in the past, when I didn't know how to do something, I had to search internet and find some examples that are not really applicable to the code I'm using.
Mhm.
And now it's quite easy. I use Visual Studio Code for coding, and I got Copilot there. So Copilot also reads the context and helps me do that. But these are the tens, if not hundreds of hours to develop it. And definitely, if I would be the professional, it will be like 10 times faster, I believe. But since I love coding, it was fun, and there are a lot of features coming soon to FigLint as well. So I'm doing it with a lot of motivation, because it's just fun.
Awesome. And thank you. I'd imagine it would be like you would say, oh, maybe a year, but really, really great. We have a few thank yous, but I guess that the presentation itself was very clear. If somebody does have any questions later on, feel free to let us know. You will be able to reach out to Marcin anytime.
Sure.
With that being said, I will kind of wrap up everything. Again, thank you, Marcin, for joining us. And everyone else, thank you so much for staying with us until the very end. Oh, we have. We have another question before before we
Yeah.
log off. Parin
Yeah, I can
asks,
see it.
yeah.
Yeah. I've read it, so I can answer right away. There's a build your first plugin, and actually Figma made it just an acronym, BYFP, and you will find on YouTube these videos and also in Figma courses. So if you Google it, you will find it. And to be honest, I think this is the best way to start. There might be some confusing things there, because sometimes it is, to be honest, too difficult or too steep learning curve. But yeah, I would start with this one, and just use AI to help you figure out some stuff. To be honest, you can even ask ChatGPT to make a tutorial for you, or how to make very simple plugin. But yeah, I wouldn't dive too deep too early. That's definitely the problem I usually have with learning anything, that someone shows you very advanced techniques that are correct, but you simply have no capabilities to understand it, because you don't understand the basics. So be forgiving for yourself, and don't rush too much. And actually, this build your first plugin resources from Figma are quite good start.
Thank you. If anyone has anything else, feel free to post now. But yeah, once again, a reminder to everyone who stayed on, as a special thank you. You will receive free access to FigLint until the end of June. You will receive all the instructions and the link in the follow-up email with the recording of the session, so you can rewatch it anytime. Make sure to follow Marcin on LinkedIn. Let me drop his link here in the chat.
Okay.
You can reach out anytime. And if you want to keep on learning, of course, give us a try at UXL. You can learn UX and product skills in just 5 minutes a day. And if you want to chat and connect with other product and UX professionals, we have an open community Discord with over 6,000 members. So feel free to join us there. It's discord.gg/UXL. Once again, big thank you to everyone for staying, and thank you, Marcin, for doing this with us. Is there anything else you would like to tell everyone before we log off?
The only thing I think is related to the previous question, because I want to encourage you to try coding, because it opens your eyes to the design itself and makes really design even deeper, not only synced with the development. But I think a lot of you might find really great fun in developing custom solutions, even for Figma, because it's also quite easy to start developing just Figma plugins, but you can also try to anything else. And that's all. And thank you, of course, so much for having me. Thank you for all people that attended. Thank you for the questions. And hopefully we'll meet on LinkedIn or maybe in person.
Thank you so much. Everyone else, have a great rest of the day and see you in our next session.
Thank you. Bye.